Hello everyone, this will be my first ever battle report. It's going to be a battle report on a battle between Lizardmen and Warriors of Chaos. As you've seen, it's going to be a 2500 battle. It's actually going to be with one of my friends, and I'm going to be using his Lizardmen army and also to be fighting his Warriors of Chaos army. Just kind of started replaying Warhammer once 8th edition came out, so right now my Lizardmen army is not quite up to scale. It's about 1,000 points, so I went ahead and just used his. I'd like to also point out that this is going to be pretty much my first larger battle in 8th edition, so I'm fairly new to the rules, so and my friend's gonna help me kind of muddle my way through this first battle. Hopefully everything will go according to plan, and it'll be a fun battle between us. Something that I have noticed though with 8th edition is there are large blocks of infantry. It's not the character game that it used to be, and your Death Star units have kind of been taken out, which is kind of a good thing, so I'm eager to see how this will be. Not quite so eager to paint my army, since there'll be a lot more troops to paint, but otherwise I'm fairly excited. So anyways, here it goes, my battle report on Lizardmen versus Warriors of Chaos. Okay, here I'm just going to go over the armies and just kind of show you kind of what's being brought to the table, and just give a cool little brief overview. Here's one of his big blocks of Chaos Marauders. As you can see, it's a fairly hefty and large block. It's going to be a Khorne. They're going to be marked Khorne, and they're going to have great weapons. So they're going to have Frenzy, so they're going to each have 2 attacks at Strength 5. Though they will be striking last, which is good, but that's a lot of attacks. And that's Strength 5, Weapon Skill 4, so they're actually fairly good for being only 6 points a model with great weapons. Anyways, here is his other block of Marauders. Same kind of thing. It has a standard just like the other one, marked Khorne, and with great weapons. So as you can see, it's a lot of models in 2 big units. His kind of core of his army is going to be right here. It's going to be his Warriors of Chaos. They're going to be marked Zinch. His BSB and his Sorcerer Lord will actually reside in this unit of 40 crazy warriors. That's just a big unit. They're also going to be have halberds, so they're going to be Strength 5 with 2 attacks. Not quite as resilient, but a lot more hitting power. Also, you can see that there's 2 hell cannons in the background with a war shrine in the background. Here, you're going to notice my Lizardmen over there, or some chameleon skinks. There's a unit of 6 of them. There's my big unit of Temple Guard. There's supposed to be a Slan in the middle. The Slan kind of broke off its base because the base is pretty weak, so it's basically just going to be kind of a big base in there, and that's going to be representing the Slan. It's kind of a pain to move him around when he's wobbling everywhere. But anyways, and then you can also see one of the units of Saurus Warriors with spears on the other side. Here's just another picture of it, same kind of thing. I just took 2 pictures, and you can see my Monster Energy drink over there too. Anyways, I've got 2 Salamanders with 3 handlers each. I did not opt for the additional handler. Then you can see the other skinks over there, the chameleon skinks. They're going to be used for attempting to do some march blocking and kind of just heckle his troops during the beginning, and that's going to be my goal to use with them. And they're pretty cheap; they can be thrown away pretty easily. Then there's my other big unit of Sauruses. Also, I'm going to have 2 Stegodons. One's going to be a normal Stegodon, and it's not going to have any real equipment on it. It's just going to have its Howdah crew pretty much. And then there's going to be a ancient stegodon with the engine of the gods. A quick picture with a skink we went ahead and set up. Basically, what we did was we placed some terrain. We didn't really want to have too complex terrain since it is going to be my first battle. So this is pretty much just a pitched battle, real easy, real straightforward. As you can see, he's got a very impressive battle line to the left. Just huge amounts of troops, and I'm pretty worried that it's going to be difficult to really deal with them. As you can see, my battle line is much smaller, but I do have a few hard-hitting units, so I'm hoping to be able to overcome the numbers game for a little bit. And you can see my chameleon skinks over here on the bottom left and on the top left, way in that corner. They're going to be there, and they're going to be shooting, hopefully using poison, double shot poison blowpipes to get a few wounds on his hell cannons. That way they won't be so terrible to deal with later. What we did was we also, I rolled and I was able to decide who placed first. I went ahead and had him place first, and I ended up getting the +1 because I finished first, but he rolls a 6 and I think I rolled a 2, so he got to choose who went first, and he actually chose to let me go first as well. Here's just another picture of the battle line before the game started, just kind of right when we're going. Also, my Slan, he knows all the spells from the Lore of Life. He's over there in that Temple Guard unit, which is that bigger square unit near the Stegodons. That way, I decided to go with Lore of Life so that I could be more of an augmenting, buffing myself. You can see my salamanders in there in the middle. I'm hoping to use them to really whittle away that big unit of marauders in the front. I'm kind of hoping the stegodons on the left will kind of block his advance. As you can see, we've got these brown felts. We went ahead and just used them as small hills. They don't really block line of sight, but they will add bonuses if you're on top of them. The tower does block line of sight, though. It's nothing special. It's just a tower. There's a forest over here, just kind of in the way. That way we had to kind of maneuver around it. Didn't really use too much terrain. Just kind of made it real easy. Anyways, his caster lord will elect the Lore of Heavens, and he will get Comet of Cassandora and Ice Shard Blizzard, I believe, and then something of the Midnight Sun, and one other that he never really used, so I can't really recall what it was. Anyways, this is the start of turn 1, and this is just a closer look of his battle line, how he went ahead and deployed, keeping everything in tight, strong ranks, so that I can't really overwhelm one of his units. This first part, I went ahead and did some moving. I didn't really get some good pictures of me during the movement phase because I'm being new and all. I was just kind of worried about how to move. There was no charges or anything like this. This picture right here just represents my magic phase. I went ahead and cast the Dwellers Below spell and got a lot of his guys. So that was a really good magic phase on his Chaos Warriors on turn 1. Also, here's a picture of some of my movement. I guess you can see I just kind of moved up with my battle line, kept it a little staggered, got my my salamanders up there pretty far. That way that I could hopefully get a few kills with the flame attacks that they can give, since flame attacks are really, really good this edition, I've noticed. Here's just another view of the battle line. As you can see, he didn't move that much. Oh, he hasn't moved because it's not his turn. But as you can see, my skinks didn't move too much, but they got within range. That way I could pelt them with a few poison shots. Shooting with that didn't really do too much. I think I caused 1 wound on a dwarf and he died. So it didn't help at all. His hell cannons are pretty resilient, but it was worth a shot. Here I'm just showing that I actually got really good rolls and pretty much plopped both my flame templates right on his units and got almost the maximum amount that you could get. This is just showing you that I shot a flame template. I got like 10 inches and 8 inches on him. And it just went right over the top of his guys, and I killed a good amount of them. Probably, I think, like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 or so guys. I just, boom, gone. So I was really excited about that. So that definitely went. And with that, that's pretty much the end of my first turn. There was no close combat or anything like that. So a summary of my first turn was pretty much just I rolled up, flung a few spells, shot a few guys, flamed a few guys, and made sure to stay out of any dangerous charge ranges. Anyways, the start of his first turn, he moves up, as you can see in this picture. He moves up a few of his guys, but I just wanted to show that one of his hell cannons decided to shoot my Stegodon, and it got a direct hit right on top of him. And he rolled 6 to hit. I mean to wound. So he went ahead and wounded, and then he rolled d6 wounds, and he rolled a 6 again on the d6 wounds. So it pretty much splatted in one hit my Stegodon. I was pretty upset about that. I could imagine the Temple Guard, with all of the gore of the Stegodon splatting on them, that they were pretty upset as well. So that Stegodon was pretty much useless. I was not too happy about that. Anyways, his magic phase in this turn wasn't really that good. I think he cast Ice Shard Blizzard, and I dispelled everything else. I figured it was going to wear off by the next combat phase anyway, so I wasn't really too worried about it. But pretty much, as you can tell, he just kind of moved up with his battle line. I'm really excited about this forest over here because I plan to use it. I also want to note that he was able to charge with his, or he was in charge range with his frenzied marauders over there on the right. So he went ahead and charged my salamanders, and I elected to flee with them. That way I could get away, and as you can see, they're safe within the confines between my two other big blocks of sources, so I'm not too worried about them. And, you know, cold-blooded leadership on the Slan's leadership test is pretty easy on the general's leadership. You can also notice that his hell cannon moved up right behind that tower over there on the right, and then overall his battle line just moved up. So with that, his turn pretty much ends. So his magic phase was kind of a wash, and then his shooting phase actually did fairly well, obliterating my Stegodon in one fell swoop. Anyways, we'll get to the next turn. Okay, on this turn, I'm showing that I have a bunch of Remains in Play spell on my my Temple Guard. What I ended up doing was rallying my salamanders and bringing them up closer so I can get a few shots off again in the next turns, because I don't think they're able to shoot after they rally, so we went ahead and just didn't shoot with them that turn. But what I did was I ended up turning my my sources around, doing a swift reform, and then moved them back. That way I would get out of range, because I really wanted to keep pounding his troops with the Dwellers Below, because I really needed to get their numbers just whittled away. So I went ahead and refrained from getting into combat with a losing advantage, and that was my idea, at least, is that I would lose. So I went ahead and just kind of shifted my battle line back some, and then I continued in my magic phase to cast my Remains in Play, as you can see in this picture again, and I do some damage again with Dwellers Below, getting some irresistibles. It's a nice deal. Here's just another picture. After my turn, this is his turn. He went ahead and moved up. As you can see, his hell cannon got really close to my troops that are turned around right there on the right. His overall battle line just moves up like it did last turn. As you can see over here, his hell cannon is now partially within the forest, as well with his troops of marauders, which is in my plan. Also, my last magic phase was kind of bad, because I think I did like 2 kills to his unit of Chaos Knights, so not as good as the previous one where I killed like a whole back rank of 10, which was great. But so it was kind of, but I did get a lot of remains in play, so I'm happy about that. What I did do movement-wise was, once again, I kind of shifted my troops kind of back some. That way I could kind of keep out of range of his big units. I swift reformed early on my both my source units and got them turned around. Kind of moved my Stegodon back. In the magic phase, it was a very productive magic phase. I had Throne of Vines, so my Awakening of the Wood spell was a lot stronger, and then his Hell Cannon was partially within the forest, so I got more hits. So I ended up killing his Hell Cannon. I did 6 wounds at strength 6, killed his Hell Cannon outright, and he was... So it was kind of like the splat that he scored on my Stegodon. It was pretty much a splat against his Hell Cannon, so I was happy about that. I went ahead and used the Dwellers Below, as you can see here, and took out about half of his, a little over half actually, of his Chaos Marauders on the left. So I was extremely happy about that, knowing that I've whittled them down significantly. They are frenzied though, so there is no panic test involved. There. So my other shooting, my Salamanders were able to shoot again, killing a few, I believe 7 or 8 or 9 of the Marauders again on the right flank. With that, I pretty much ended my turn. Pretty confident at this point. I also had a lot of remains in play. I believe I had Flesh to Stone, the regeneration on a 4+, on my Temple Guard, so they had Toughness 4 with regeneration on a 4+, and then they had Shield of Thorns, so anybody that hit them took 2d6 strength, or was in base contact, would take 2d6 strength 4 hits. So I was fairly confident with my block of Temple Guard, and I figured I could overcome some bad odds in that. Okay, here basically shows that he charged with his big unit of warriors. He decided to charge my Saurus, and I really didn't want that. And I figured I had fairly good chances to not be caught. I had extremely good chances not to be caught by his unit, and then I thought I had really good chances of not flying off the board. Well, as you can see there, with the 11 that I rolled, it was just enough to get me right over the edge. Anything less and I would have been home free and able to rally and be in a much more favorable spot. So this was an extreme loss for me, losing a whole block of troops to a stupid decision on my part to go ahead and flee. But all in all, it kept my battle line out of combat for the most part. Also on the right, his Hell Cannon was able to charge my unit of Source, and his unit of Marauders over up there had a failed charge on one of my Salamanders as well, and they were not able to overrun into the other one. They came up really short with their failed charge. Had reformed his unit on the left after facing a lot of about half casualties, his big unit of Marauders, so that he could get through that wood without basically making his unit a lot more manageable. That way he could actually get into combat, since I was able to kind of condense his forces really well. Also, as you can see here, the Salamander has fled back a little bit, keeping him out of combat. But my other Salamander is actually a different unit, so that he can still fire next turn. So I'm really happy about that. Not happy though that I won't be able to shoot both flames, because I really need to get that unit of Marauders whittled really far down. Anyways, his magic phase is pretty much the exact same as it was every other time. He tries to cast the Midnight Sun on my Temple Guard unit. I dispel it, but he does get Ice Shard Blizzard off on that unit. Me pretty much just me choosing to dispel the greater the evils, in my opinion. Combat overall, my source lost. They lose only 3 against the Hell Cannon since it's charging my flank, and it's pretty beast at toughness 6 and strength 6, and I can't kill the dwarfs for combat resolution. I have to roll against the characteristics of the Hell Cannon, so it's kind of difficult, especially being in my flank. Anyways, my source will hold due to cold-blooded leadership and steadfast. It's pretty hard to get them to break, so it's a fairly easy stay for me. My next phase, I just kind of move my troops around a little bit. I really don't do too much with them. I, like all my other turns, I'm pretty much trying to stay out of combat until I can really get his numbers down. I believe my movement phase, I don't declare really any charges. So my movement phase is kind of small. I just kind of move my skinks up and take a few pot shots with them in the shooting phase at some of the Chaos Marauders on both sides. I do, on my magic phase, I get most of my remains in place spells off again, and I'm able to do Dwellers Below on the unit on the right, as you can see here, of Marauders, and I get them to a very small size, about 1/5 of what they were, so they only have about 10 left. So now that unit is pretty much dealt with, and I don't worry about it at all anymore from this point on. And as you can see with the skinks behind there, they're the ones who's gonna shoot them down for the rest of the game. On my turn, I don't declare any charges though. On his turn, coming up, we're still in combat. As you can see, my source unit lost a couple guys, but in that magic phase prior, I put Flesh to Stone on the unit on the right, that source unit, as you can see with the card back there. That way I could have a better chance of not losing all my guys and keeping that Hell Cannon at bay while keeping that unit alive until I can deal with it. He does charge me. He gets 3 charges off this turn. He charges me with his warriors, his main block of warriors, and his Sorcerer Lord, who's actually extremely beast in combat. I think I took 6 attacks at him with some of my Temple Guard and got 0 wounds. Wasn't even close to wounding, and or wasn't even close to getting an unsaved wound on him. He was able to save everything. And he just has a lot of attacks that come at me, and it's a little disheartening because he wins combat pretty well, but I am steadfast because I have more ranks, so I'm able to overcome the loss there. Regeneration did help tremendously. I probably might have lost if it wasn't for the regeneration that I had on him. He does charge my Stegodon with his War Shrine and his unit of Marauders. There is a wound that was caused. I can't remember exactly how it was, but on my Skink Priest he did have 1 wound, and due to the augment nature of the Lore of Life, he did regen that last magic phase because he was within 12 inches of my general, or my Slan, so he was able to regen that and go back up to 2. The battle on the left, he does, I think, 2 wounds to my Stegodon, 1 wound to my Skink Priest, and ends up beating me in combat res. I do kill a decent amount of Marauders, so I'm not too worried about that with Thunderstomp and stuff, but he did beat me. But I'm stubborn on a leadership of 9, so it isn't that big a deal. With Cold-Blooded, it's almost impossible, and rerolls because of the battle standard, it's almost impossible to fail. And then my Salamanders both are rallied now, and they'll move up after the magic phase and fight and shoot a few more shots at the. So we have a few battles that kind of go back and forth. I kind of forgot to take a few pictures. We have a few rounds of combat that swing back and forth. I am able to pretty much kill his unit of Marauders on the right, and his unit of Marauders on the left I'm able to kill as well, and his War Shrine will flee combat after he loses there. Also, it will, as you can see here, my big unit of Temple Guard is basically alone. That's because it was able to kill and run down his unit of warriors. Basically what happened was I was able to get a couple key spells off of, I was able to get a regrowth off on them, and then I irresistibly cast Flesh to Stone, so they had toughness 4. And in the end, basically this game came down to me getting irresistible on Flesh to Stone with that middle group, and he wasn't able to deal with them. I mean, toughness 8 Saurus warriors or Temple Guard is just ridiculous. So I was able to beat him with static combat res pretty hard, and he was unable to roll lower than a 7, so he had pretty kind of some bad rolls there, and I was able to overrun him and basically get a kill on the BSB and his general and that whole unit. At this point, my opponent, he goes ahead and concedes here, because all he's got really left is the War Shrine that's fleeing and the Hell Cannon that's right now actually kind of beating the pulp my unit of Saurus on the right, who are now down to about 8 guys. So overall, he's able to kill my Stegodon, but not able to kill the rest of my units. And then that unit that I had that fled off the board that said they didn't want to fight. Here is just showing you the picture of how many guys he killed in the last combat, or the last 2 combats of Saurus versus that stupid Hell Cannon that's just blowing the side of them off. But anyways, that's pretty much the end of my battle report. It was a victory for the Lizardmen. They were able to defend Lestria. I want to congratulate my friend on a great game and helping me through. He gave me a lot of pointers and advice on what to do, and a few tips on, I should do this. And like I said earlier, he would have kind of killed my Skink Priest, but I said earlier that I was able to regen the wound because of the augment spells that the Lore Life has that heals the wound with anybody within 12 inches. He went ahead and let me do that, even though the round that I was able to do that had ended earlier. So it was definitely a learning game for me, and he really helped me. But pretty much it came down to the Slann. The Slann's magic is just too powerful. He's able to cast just a lot of dice. He gets an extra dice with every spell he casts, so I can throw 1 dice at a lot of things and have +4 to cast it with another dice. So he's just unable to handle the Slann. So I really like that. The Salamanders did great. They never ever misfired. So overall, I think I had a good fortune during this battle. It was a fun fight and a good first battle, and I hope y'all enjoyed my battle report on Warriors of Chaos versus Lizardmen, and hopefully more will come. Any tips on any play styles, if we did anything wrong, let me know, because I'm still learning. I plan on going to a few grand tournaments here soon, once I finish fleshing out my army. Anyways, best of luck to you all. See y'all later.